Namaskar and good evening. Welcome you all on 6th day of ICR National Institute of Agriculture Economics and Policy Research webinar series on quantitative method for social sciences. Today we will learn panel data regression, what is it, when to use it, and after that we will take instrumental variable method where you can find what is instrumental variable, how to identify it and how to use it. Also, we'll be taking practical sessions for both these topics. Now, I request Dr. Abhimanyu to introduce the speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Vinayak Nikam, for introducing the topic. Good evening to all. For today's lecture, we have with us Dr. Balaji S.J. He is an agricultural economist working as a scientist at National Institute of Agricultural Economics and Policy Research, New Delhi. His major research area is agricultural growth and development. Now I request Dr. Balaji to start his lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Vinayak and Dr. Abhimanyu. Good evening, guys. Today we will be looking on panel data regression and instrumental variables. Both are actually different titles, but still collaborated together to complete it in a single session. Let me share my. Sir, is it visible?
You share it, Dr. Sir.
Yes.
Yes, it's visible. Now we can start for PowerPoint presentation mode.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Yes.
Good evening again. As mentioned, this topic covers two different things. One is on panel data, and within the panel data, how different estimation techniques can be done. And the second is on instrumental variables, what it is, when this is used, and when this is used, in which situation, which will perform better. Those are related things. In the overall scheme is like, first we will see, in fact, what is panel. Much of the social scientists know what it is, but still we see what is panel, how it is different in terms of information flow. And the second part is like, we will see what is instrumental variable. Sometimes it is known as latent variable, or in other names also it is mentioned. And we will see just what it is. It's not much into equations, just we will see in a visual representation, so that it's much easy to the
So you can adjust your mic so that it will be more clear to audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Voice is okay. And the third, we will see like there are some open data like NSSO unit level data. 3 or 4 maybe 3 or 4 years before, we used to take the raw data, then you go for write some lines in either SAS or Stata, then you start using it. And now what is the government has released every data in the domain after processing. It's both available as an Excel, Stata, SPSS. In all software, the data is available in a ready-made form. The only thing is we need to register, download it, and start using. And particularly now, this is of no charge. Earlier, there used to be some nominal charge. And after that, there was a procedure like we have to write it by mail, then they will send. Now it is totally uploaded in some websites. We will see after these two topics where to go, how to download, what is the procedure. Then we'll see, we'll try to just have some variables so that we can have an experience on fixed effects, random effects, and different estimation techniques. And second, we'll go for a mixed effect model using LASI. The first will be based on the macroeconomics data, mostly for a panel setup, for maybe 15 to 16 years like that. And the second is for 2 different time period for household level data we will take, and we will see how it is working. Just to begin with, we are confronting a variety of data. These days, the data has become almost free. Most of the data is available for reproduction. Means when in machine learning or related techniques are developed, they are giving data, they are giving code. Our task is to download, and we can try to reproduce it so that we get confidence. Then we go to our data and try to execute the same thing. And here in this box, what we see is, here we can see the discount level offered at the bottom, at the x-axis. And in the y-axis, this is the number of orders for different commodities. This sort of analysis is generally for analyzing consumer behavior. You can think of Amazon, Flipkart, or other online platforms where the sale is taking place, and how do they analyze this. So they can take each commodity and they do at different offer levels, and they see how many orders they are getting. And based on that, they plan their strategy. Here you can see for seafood, you can follow the cursor if it is possible. You can see the seafood. For seafood at 15%, there is a 38 orders, which means if this is going to be 6 to 10%, the demand is going to be a little less. For 0%, there will be only 21 orders. For 20%, there is going to be 29 orders. So after that, the producer or the businessman gets the idea like at which offer level they can try to earn more. For say, you can see for meat or poultry, for 6 to 10%, the order is high. Then it slightly goes for 25. This depends the consumer behavior, how they choose. Here for condiments, you can see as a beverages, 5%, it's been, the number has been much high. After that, the number is reducing. That has to do with the quality of the produce. For fruits and vegetables, we may be thinking, say, if the offer is much more, the quality may be compromised. So that, and this is one set of data what we are looking at now. The character is like there is no any time dimension. There are observations, there are different categories of commodities. The information is pretty enough to study, but only part is like over the time how their preference is changing, that's not recorded here. So only when we are having this sort of data, the first way to explore is to fit into say simple regression model. You take the number of orders here in y-axis, or you can take the value of the order placed here, and you see the discount level in x-axis. You see when the discount is going up, the number of orders are going high. And if you want to differentiate between the commodities, you can try to add more dummy variables within the OLS regression so that you can see what is the impact of this offer on different commodities, like we saw in that heat map in the previous slide. And this is the very beginning way to analyze the data. And there are other set of data where all the transactions are recorded in time dimension. Here in this picture, you can see the date of order at the horizontal axis. And here, this is the orders. And you can see the customer classification here, and each line says the particular customer. And the bubble size may be the sort of value. But the point to note here is the high dimensional, high frequency data comes now with time. The advantages of time is like, in general, if you take in agriculture, the price forecasting, especially for the fruits and vegetables, the perishable commodities, the pulses, the oil seeds, for everything, we used to forecast for next season what is going to be the price or what is going to be the supply, and if there is any stocking procedure, how the price is going to inflate. Those sort of analysis needs, with one period of time, if you are taking the data, the forecast performance will be less. So by that time, what do we do is at least we can take some 10 years, 15 years data, and based on the past behavior, we try to predict what is going to happen at the future. And these are the two different data sets. One is taken at one particular time of all customers, and the second is like the time dimension generally not used to differentiate between the customers. In particular time, it was the production. Say you can take the wheat yield in this year was this much. Last year was the yield. So this will not differentiate between what happened to different plots or what happened to different states. In agriculture, now the major advantage is like we are having a lot of data in open domain. With not much effort, we can able to download, we can able to access. And there are the main advantages, like as we see earlier, it combines both the characteristics of cross-section and time series data. Meaning is like for the same person or the same commodity, the particular variables information is collected in different times. Last week, what was the onion price? For the same onion price in the particular market, what was in this week, what was the previous week? So likewise for onion, what about the tomato, potato, for rice? For every commodities, it's recorded. And here, this slide shows what are different sort of data available for agriculture in open domain for pretty long period. In AgMarkNet website, you can find for most of the commodities, the price for each week or for each month, what was the price level. And this is available from 96 or 97, I think. So from 97 to till date, for each week, what was the price of particular commodity, that is recorded in open domain. So our chances like we can get into the data and we can adjust for the seasonality, go for some smoothing technique. And for forecasting, this data is much useful. So it's possible till 2020 where we used to target for doubling this farmer's income or some other any interventions. What is going to be the price of particular commodity in 2020 or 2022 in that particular week? In particular, even that we can be planning. So in 2022, by March, during second week, what is going to be the price of tomato, onion for all commodities? It's possible to get it. Second is like for growth forecasting, we used to go for GDP based estimate. Generally, annual data is collected, or if you can dig into the MOSPI website, we can look into the quarterly data for each quarter, what has happened to the GDP, different components, not overall GDP. You can look for agriculture, construction, mining, for every different sectors. For each month, each 3 months, what was the GDP level, what was the investment from the government, or how much is the private investment is coming. Every details are recorded for each 3 months. So based on this quarterly data, the growth is forecasted for future. So even it is possible, say in sort of COVID cases, there are some emergency situations. It is possible to project what is going to be the GDP or farmers' income after controlling something, certain assumptions. We can introduce some shock into the long-term series, and we can see what is going to be the growth and what should be the growth and what is going to be the different. That different, we can say this is because of this pandemic. And the interesting part is like household level data itself is now available in open domain. After processing, we don't need to, as I said earlier we used to write some lines in Stata or in SAS, then you convert it into the data file, then we start using. And now in open domain, they have already given access like a ready to use product. We download and we start using. The advantage is like from 1983, for each 5 years, this employment data, consumption expenditure data, they are available till 2011-12. In one survey, it covers around 6 lakh persons. So you can think of how many samples it is covering for, say, 83, 87 for each 5 years. At least minimum 15, 20 lakh data we will be having if you want to process it. And the ISDS data, Institute of Human Development Studies, that has all the dimensions of different data. This is available for 2 years, 2005 and 2012. And the main advantage with the ISDS is it will trace the person. In employment survey, in consumption expenditure survey, there are households, there are persons, but every time they will not meet the same person. So for example, in 2005, suppose if we are meeting a person and we are recording his characteristics, say his income behavior, his savings, and after 5 years, it's not necessary that NSSO will go and meet the same person. In ISDS, what happens is they are tracing the same person, and there are keys available when we are downloading. I will try to show that. So it's possible to trace in 2 different time period what has happened. We'll see in the exercise, we will see in 2004 or 5, whoever was the farmer, when it comes to 2011 or 2012, most of them are not farmers. They become laborers, they become petty traders, they become construction workers. They go out of labor force sometimes. This sort of behavior is very important when it comes to non-farm employment related studies. This AIDIS is All India Debt and Investment Survey. This records how much the farmers are investing in their own field. It's available in published documents for each 10 years we can find. If you are having unit level data, we can still go to the household level. Each household that particular year, how much money it was spending in his farm. They are very valuable information, and the size is very big. This is family health survey, health related particulars we can collect. And very recently, the advancement is like satellite data has come into open domain. Even earlier it was there, but the processing was different. Either we should be familiar with RGIS or QGIS or GIS related processing software. Now this Sentinel-2 can be accessed using R. If someone is familiar with R, the codes or the packages are available in open domain. So what again we install, we look into how the syntax is developed, we process it, you can download the satellite data. Advantages like, unlike this weekly data, for multiple times in a single day, the data is recorded on climate variables, on say land use variables, how many area, what are the crops were there. everything is recorded. I think 5 or 6, once in 5 or 6 hours, the frequency is very high. This data has come into open domain. And most important is everything is free. We don't need to pay. Only thing is we sit in computer and download it. Just to give a demo how the panel data used to be, you can see here, this is the time dimension at the horizontal axis. And there are 2 different series. Each series you can think of different states or different persons or different districts. The entity may be whatever, maybe a village, maybe a person, maybe a household, maybe. So for each person, for different time period, the variables details are recorded. This is how it looks. Or much more clear will be in this table. Say if this is 1990, in 1990, for that particular person, if this is the say particular first person, for that person, what was the level of income? Suppose if it is income. So for the same person in 1991, how much he was earning, 92, how much he was earning. So I will show the original data so that you will be getting more clear. This screenshot is taken from my computer with the Stata data file. This is the Stata data file. We will see in demo session how it is done. This is the state. You can look at the label. This is the state. This is year, and these all are our variable of interest.
Zoom, Dr. Sir. It can be zoomed.
Yes, it will be clear now. Is it? Okay. This is the state. APT is for Andhra Pradesh, including Telangana. From 2005 to 2019, for Andhra Pradesh combined with Telangana, what was the productivity level for each year? This is in 1,000 rupees per hectare. Means this is around 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees it was in 2005. In 2019, it became 1.67 lakh. Likewise, this labor is like in each hectare, how many labors they are employing. For example, in 1 hectare, in that particular year, they were employing 2 labor. 2 labor means labor count, it's not the intensity. So in 2019, it became 1.8, means they are reducing the labor with symptoms. Symptoms like they may be investing more, or there may be more fallow lands, they may be leaving agriculture, there may be multiple reasons, we can explore it. This K is for capital. Capital means you can perceive as an investment. Investment by the government. How much is the Indian government is investing for agriculture per hectare. So in 2005, this was say 6.7, around 7,000 rupees per hectare. When it was 10, it was 14, 16. After a while, there was a differences. This K is investment from the farmers on their own field, how much they are investing. For this allied agriculture is like the share of commodities other than crops. Means high value agriculture, we are very familiar with that. Here we have livestock, even fruits and vegetables we can construct it. In that particular variable, we are having livestock, fisheries, forestry. And this is the GDP per capita. The idea is we'll discuss why these variables are chosen. There may be more variables. In analytical framework, this will be more clear. But the idea is this is how a panel data has to be arranged or has to be there during analysis. And advantages like comparing with this OLS, means cross-section data, which is collected in one particular year, or time series data, which is having a pretty lengthy time, but the aggregation level is very high. Here in panel data, we have more information on each entity, each variables. The advantages like whenever we have more variables, the degrees of freedom goes up. For statistical property, this is very important. And second is like when we are having more variables, we are having more variability. In OLS, in 10 assumptions, we will be reading there should be variability in independent variables. So if we are adding more explanatory variables, we are trying to give more variability. Variability means again more information, which is getting translated as less collinearity. Again, when it comes to assumptions, we used to say these independent variables are not related with themselves. If they are related, they used to be collinear, and that should not be there during OLS. When it comes to panels, since we are giving more information, this collinearity, choices of collinearity will be very less. Second is like maybe when we are trying to model some phenomenon, it's not like every time we will get enough information. Sometimes there may be information, but there will not be the data. or maybe because of cost constraint, or maybe it may not be available. There are so many chances. In that case, it is possible to control the unobservables. Unobservables means we know it is, but we don't get it in the numerical form. So farmers' managerial ability, if you want to take it as an example, managerial ability can be measured in multiple dimensions. Maybe you can take it as a literacy or how far, how long he is involved in farming. There are so many choices, but there is no precise variable which reflects the managerial ability. So if we can't be able to generate those sort of data, in panel regression, it's possible to control the effects when in estimation, so that the specification error or omitted variable bias, those things will be avoided. The third is like it is possible to see individual effect. In OLS, we get a single parameter, then interpret for 1% change in this explanatory variable. This is the change in dependent variable. But this is not group specific. Even in dummy, it's possible, but within the groups, what was the variation that was not captured? In panel data, that can be done in more detail. More specifically, we can try to include a hierarchical structure. By hierarchical structure, we means like, say, if you take Indian case, for different states, if we are studying the nature of crops, for Himachal and Jammu, there are more fruits-related cropping pattern. For Maharashtra, you will get more vegetables. In spices in Kerala, pulses are in MP. There are so many variations. So next, at further level, what happens is within MP, you can see not all the districts are having the same character. I mean, some region may be more irrigated, or some regions may be having access to quality seeds. There are so many structures, but the information is like from the national level, when it comes to state level, the characters become diverse. From the state level, when it comes to district or village level, there used to be more variability, but that will be very specific to that particular environment. So those variability can be captured in this panel data model. That is one big advantage. So by that, while doing this, it's possible to measure state-specific policies. Means now recently we are coming across this APMC. It's not going to be there. Then Essential Commodities Act, that's going to be changes in it. Definitely the impact is going to be very different in very different states, or maybe different to the different farmers. If they are big farmers, they have a big say, their benefit will be different. Those sort of information, it is possible to construct in this panel data model. And heterogeneity, as usual, what we talk, heterogeneity can be taken in very detail. So when we are having those sort of panel data, the big advantage is like there are a lot of techniques that can be available for our data set based on the length of year, number of time period plus number of observations. The linear model is like say fixed effect and random effect, what we will discuss in more detail, mixed effect as well. Dynamic is like time dimension comes in. Yield in this particular year is not just about the input or irrigation. It also has a relation with this previous year yield. Those characters. Endogeneity means we'll see like endogeneity is simply that it's not independent. It depends something else. But it depends something else, but it tries to act as an independent variable. In that case, we'll use IV and binary and ordinal, longit and probit. These are familiar for cross-section data. For longit and probit also, it's possible to do with panel data. And we'll also see what is mixed effect models. So just to give a picture, the fixed effect is like, this is assuming, means this is helping to control the unobservable, entity specific, time invariant. All these three characters are very important. First is unobservable. Like we were looking in the case of managerial ability of farmers, this is not unobservable. Second is like entity specific. Entity specific means maybe the small farmers character may be a little different from the large farmers character in terms of say investment behavior or risk taking ability, those sort of things. Whatever the group we are assuming, the character is specific to that particular group, and this is unobservable, and this will not change with time. If we are studying for 10 years, within the 10 years, the unobservable character will remain as such. It will not change. In that cases, we can go for fixed effect model, and there are different assumptions with which we can run it. One is like the slope remains same. By slope, we know what it is, the rate of change. The rate of change for each entity remains same, but the intercept is different. In growth accounting, the intercept, by adjusting the intercept, we will study the technology progress. The other way of assuming is like slope is constant, intercept is different, was in the first case. In second case is intercept is also different, slope is also different. But there are but there are other characteristics like the entity specific characteristics. So based on our assumptions within the fixed effect framework, it is possible to model. So this is the random effect. In random effect, what do we assume? It's like whatever the variations we see, they are purely random. It's not as an effect of anything. So last time we were discussing, there are so many productivity variations in high value dominant states or serial based states. There are differences. And this random effect says that these differences are, this is like random. Random means that's it. It don't have any explanatory factors. In that case, we can go for this random effects model. The mixed effect is like it contains the both. We will see in our data when we are running. A data set cannot be totally like intercept varies but slope is constant. It's not possible in every cases. Or both slope is constant, intercept is different. It's not possible. When we were looking into the data, it will be more clear. But the point here is like this will be a mix of both. There will be fixed effect characteristics. Also, there will be this RE characteristics. More importantly, when we are having a multi-level data, like we said earlier, we are also having information at state level. Within the state, we are having information at district level. To go further, we have at a block or at a village, we are having information. The clusters, you can see each circle represents each group of observations. They have similar characteristics within their group, but they are different when comparing with other group. In sort of situations, we can go for this mixed effect models. And the left-hand side graph is like, this was the Laschet curve, and each line is generated for each observation. All the pictures shown here is not generated by our own. This is collected from the website for illustration purpose. And diagnosis, we see whenever we go for this OLS or time series, it's common to check for whether there is an equilinearity, multicollinearity, whether the independent variables are related. In agriculture, it is much common. For example, this fertilizer and irrigation both go in same line. When you are applying more irrigation, automatically we apply for more seeds. Also, the yield will behave accordingly. Or there are heteroscedasticity. The error should be constant, but in many cases, we will see the error distribution is not. By that case, we will be adjusting. It's called heteroscedasticity. When we are computing the standard errors, there will be some adjustment. Likewise, in panel data regression, there are different diagnostics we have to do. When this happens only after running the model, we used to see whether this correlation related things are there. Just to give you an example, contemporaneous correlation is spatial spillover. For example, in my state, if particular technology is released, automatically in surrounding regions, in neighboring state or neighboring village, it will go. By that way, if you try to correlate the yield in my state and nearby state, there will be some correlations. This is called contemporaneous. Serial correlation is like each year. So last time this was the error or residual. This time I got a new residual, but these two are related. In that case, we see it's a serial correlation. They are like OLS based assumptions applicable to the panel framework with different assumptions. Second is like there are a variety of techniques. One is fixed effect, one is random effect. The data is suitable for both. We try to assume that, but still we can't come to a conclusion by our judgmental ability. Then we can go for some statistics. It will be saying for our particular data whether fixed effect is working well, or we can go for this random. Otherwise, OLS versus random. There are multiple tests we'll see in practical data. This is about the panel data. When it comes to the instrumental data, the difference is like in panel data, we saw there are some observations which are unobservable. Time invariant properties, we can't able to measure those sort of things. That is adjusted by taking intercept. Here, in instrumental variable, we want to measure particular things, but it is not measurable. But there are some other variables which is closely related with the non-measurable variables. That is called instrument. By seeing an example, you may be more clear. But generally, this IV is used when our data has so many violations. For example, there has to be so many data. but we can't able to collect. We are missing some data. By that case, we call it as omitted variable bias. That bias should not be there. That has to be adjusted. While taking measurements, there will be problems. Simultaneity is like in right-hand side equations, we will write so many variables, assuming like each variable is independent. But many a times these variables are not independent. Especially in macroeconomics data, almost none of the variables is independent. By that case, we will see they are endogenous. There are simultaneity problems. But in that case, we can try this IV. And in terms of impact assessment framework, maybe you might have been attending. There are other techniques to deal with this impact assessment. This is also the other technique when the random experiment is not possible in particular study. In biological study, it's very easy to control experiment. All the soil characteristics, temperature, irrigation, everything is controlled in two different plots. Then in one plot, we give a treatment, and for the other plot, you leave it as such, then you see the difference. That is the impact. But in observational data, when it comes to social sciences, it is not possible. In fact, that has to be. Means when you want to say, this is the impact of my variety. So we have to find some people who are going behind it, some people who are not going behind it. But these two people have to be similar in all other characteristics. Only then we can say this is purely because of the variety. Otherwise, there are other factors. IV also is the one technique that can be done for impact assessment. But only problem is IV is like finding that proxy variable is very different. So we were discussing like there is a variable which can't be measured, but we want to take some other variable which is much closely related to the non-measurable variable. The condition is like the instrument should not directly affect the outcome, because if it is affecting, that will be straightly enter into the model. It doesn't need to be an instrument. The second point is like that does have a causal effect on the treatment. Treatment means in which equation we want to see the impact that that particular variable. Exogeneity assumption is like that the instrument what we are choosing, that has to be a random assignment. Maybe a little confusing, but when we look into the this example, maybe more clarity you may get. You can think of the first equation. First is like we are trying to study wages and which factors are trying to influence wages. You can take the case of agriculture. The wages varies from 200 to 700 rupees. You wanted to study which factors are influencing the wage levels. So we, for time being, we are assuming only two variables. You can extend it. There are two. One is like how far he is literate. The second is gender. These two variables we have added as an independent. Generally, this gender is independent. We don't have any control. But when it comes to education, it's not really independent. It depends so many factors. What I read today is not just a random phenomenon. So what do we try to say is the education level of that particular person is the ability to learn things. Ability to learn things, as like we already stated, there are so many things which can take a proxy of ability. My ability is like I have more money, so I can go to the school, I got literate. Some other's ability is like he was very near to the school, or maybe there are some other systems which are taking inside. So he got into it. There are so many. So when we want to take an instrument that has to be, as we saw earlier, that has to satisfy all three characters so that it will become a valid instrument. Here, education is precisely not randomly assigned. Second is ability is not straightly measurable. Third is we have to find some variable which is much related to this ability. One possible, this is a very famous example. Wherever in website, if you go and search for IV, in most of the papers there will be discussion on this, because that has satisfied all the conditions here. Say for example, for ability, just to have a proxy, if you want to take a variable distance to school, what is the distance to school? That is going to be then instrument. When we look into whether this variable is satisfying all three assumptions, first is this: the instrument will not have a direct influence on outcome variable. The outcome is wages, so distance to school has nothing to do with wage. We all will agree. The second is like distance to school does affect education, because education we equated as a function of ability, for which the distance is taken as a proxy. The distance has related with the education level. So third is like distance to school is very random. When we have our account residence, it's not planned like it should be very close to school or something. So when the distance is randomly assigned, all three characters are satisfied, then we can say this is a valid instrument. For estimating IV, there are multiple techniques. There are, say, indirect least square, 2SLS. We'll see during the estimation process how to do it. The 2SLS has this two steps, and as the name mentioned, this has this two steps. In first steps, including all the independent variables, we used to regress, then find the predicted variable, then plug into the original first equation. First equation. After that, we'll be checking the impact of the missed. So what we will, this is a brief introduction about this IV and panel data in terms of just to give an information how it behaves. What do we do here is, first we will see different data sources where it is available in open domain. We'll go there and we'll try to see where it is and try to download in some cases. And after that, I have a set of data to demonstrate all the techniques what we discussed here: fixed effect, random effect, then instrumental variable for panel setup. Then we'll take a household level data from ISDS survey. The case what we are discussing, like the ISDS is tracing farmers in different time periods. With this data, we will try to run this mixed effect logic. The variables details are here, just you can look into it. The productivity is per hectare, agriculture GDP, labor is number. This is discussed already. Here, what do we wanted to study in this ISDS data is like what determines a farmer to stay in agriculture, because that was the very famous issue. Like in many times, in one particular year, there are farmers, then after 3 or 4 years, number of farmers are getting reduced. So they get converted into some other occupation. So what factors are determining? For that, household level information will be more useful. That we'll have a demo. And that's what to discuss. Maybe if you want to ask something, you can ask either now or at the end of the time. Shall I proceed to demo or?
Yes, people are demanding little louder voice if possible.
Okay, still louder. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that will be better if you adjust like that.
Okay. Okay, the first one is what we are saying is NSS household level data, which is available free. For accessing that, you can go to this is closing. Okay, National Data Archive. This is the archives where all the NSS related data is given.
So you close your PowerPoint, then other things
Okay.
are visible. Yes.
Is that fine?
I think still the PowerPoint is going on.
Okay. I'll PowerPoint. I wanted to refer each variable. Otherwise, okay. I'll close this PowerPoint. This is screen service.
You can start it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it is okay.
Okay. The National Data Archive portal is the place where all the NSS related or other household level data related information is stored. So you can type here in Google as usual, National Data Archive. You can click the corresponding link. Here you will see the micro data catalog here. I'll try it. Okay, this one here, the micro data catalog. You can click it. What you see here is a variety of data which is available for open download. Annual survey of industries is another interesting database who are involved in studying food processing industry. It contains all the information on registered industries with different kinds, including food processing. For each industry level data they are giving. And very recently, how much they are investing for their R&D, that is also being given. That's a very valuable source. And second is household expenditure survey. That's a very famous one. With that, we used to go for this poverty-related estimate. The economic census is like this. This contains what the nature of establishment, how many companies are there, how many people are involved in manufacturing-related industries, how many unorganized sectors are there, so in which field they are working. So everything is recorded in economic census. In employment and unemployment, again, much of us people will be knowing. So here in this survey, there are investment-related data. So what we are supposed to do is, you just click the expenditure survey, for example. Then you go for this data set. In this data set, there is a list of all rounds. As I was mentioning, the data starts from 1983. From 1983 to 2011-12, you can even for 2014 and 15 for services and durable goods, there was a latest survey. All the information, all the data set is available. So you can again click on it. Click here. You can see this is already unlocked. Almost all the data set what you see here is already unlocked. So we have to click here, and there are information related to different aspect of the data. This is like a published database. Aggregate level information there is available, and they are all different. By when we are accessing the unit level data, there are different codes. For example, for Jammu Kashmir, the state code is 1. The state name is not straightly written. This is coded. All the coding information is available here. For downloading data, you can see here the get micro data. This is where the data is stored. It will lead to a box where first time you have to register here. Then they will be sending an ID and password to your mail. So you plug here, and then automatically the data set will be available to you. This is one very valuable data source. And the second is given by ICSSR, Indian Council of Social Science Research. ICSSR data service. Yes. In this ICSSR, the difference, both are giving same data. The only difference is here in National Data Archive, the file for latest round is available as a text file. We have to again write some program in R Stata. Then we have to extract it into an Excel form, Stata form, or any data file format. In ICSSR, the advantage is they did already everything. They are loaded straightly. You can start using it. Here in data sets, you will find which data are available. All the data sets are available in the previous data source, National Data Archives as well. And here is a depth and investment survey. Yes, in micro data catalog. Here all the data is available. Like we saw earlier, the structure is almost same. We have to register once. This is ICSSR, and the previous one is National Data Archive. That is the only difference. Both are giving same data. ICSSR is very convenient because already they processed all. Even if there are some outliers, or sometimes what happens is like instead of 0, there will be O. 0 is a numeric, O is an alphabet. So there will be error when you are reading the file, when you are writing a code. So in ICSSR database, all the errors are removed. This is a ready to use. These two databases are mainly for household level data. For other agriculture related data, in Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, there is a very rich source of data. The cost of cultivation, everybody know about that. One is for state level, for each crop wise, the data is given. You have to just click the corresponding year. The file will be automatically downloaded. Here, they are having a survey of a variety of crops. For all crops, you can see at the bottom different crops where the survey is done, and they are aggregate statistics. Here you will find all the price related information, total value of output, then what's the value of input, both in terms of prices, in terms of quantity. You will be having all the information. Other rich databases like plot level data. Means in NSSO, we are saying each household is surveyed. What is the characteristics of household that is recorded. In plot level data, for each plot of land, what is the crop behavior that is recorded. As we saw earlier, we have to just click on the year for which we want the data. It will get downloaded automatically. And this is again in ready to use form. Here you see a lot of information here. You can see at the bottom, for each state there are separate information. They are just separate sheets, but all the variables are common for all the states. You see here, this in particular, in case of Odisha, the first crop is UP. If you scroll down, for after paddy, there are other crops like Moongi. And when it comes to the coverage, this is the main product and this is the byproduct value, how much family labor is engaged and how much labor they are hired. Because the total labor makes two components. One is own farm labor and the other is like hired casual labor. And there are all details are there. What is the animal power and what is the machine hours used? What is the value of seed? Even we'll see the quality of seed. There are some dummy variables, whether it's a hybrid variety or a yielding variety or a traditional variety. Those dummy variables are available. You can see here the fertilizer related data. Almost for agriculture, whatever is directly related to yield, all the information is available in the DES, both plot level data. And in terms of macro aggregates, we will be going for Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, MOSPI. And with this Ministry of Statistics, here there is a place called download the tables and data. So, okay. This is the place where all the statistics are available. GDP related or other macro level data are contained in this national account statistics. Okay, here you can see a variety of data. One is like macroeconomic aggregates from 1950 to
Can you zoom this screen, Dr. Sir?
No, sir. The desktop I can't.
Control plus plus.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, you can see here. First part is like macro aggregates. The time series data what we were discussing. They are available in different base years. Second, we go for the state level data. For each state, what was the value of different products? We can see. Okay. This is the gross state domestic product, GSDP. For a nation, we say it's a GDP. For a state, it is SDP. For each state from 2004-5 to 2014-15, what was the state level GDP data? It's given here. The latest values can again be downloaded. And further, we can go for the quarterly data. For each 3 months, what was the GDP levels? Those information is available under the National Accounts Statistics heading. Here it's in English. For agriculture sector, within agriculture, there are 3 classifications and there are other industries like electricity and gas, construction. Most of these farmers and agricultural laborers, they are migrating now from agriculture to this construction sector. For time series data, if you look into it, that will be more visible. This is the annual data. You can click here for quarterly details. Within 2004-5, for first quarter starts from April to June. So April to June, what was the GDP? July to August, for each 3 months, what was the GDP levels? Those information is available here. So for growth related estimates, we can go for this Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. For agriculture related data, we can go for this Directorate of Economics and Statistics. For household level data, we can go for this ICSSR data service or this National Data Archives. And that's all about the data. And we can go for demo. The screen is visible, Dr. Vinayak?
Yeah.
Okay. You have already got introduced to Stata in the first session. So I'm assuming like you can see what it is. This is the do file where all the syntax what we want to execute. Every time we don't need to go to the space where we have to type. Straightly we can type it and we can store it and we can execute straightly. What I will do is I'll just explain how to run the kernel data regression. That was the purpose of. So I'll try to do that. First is the first row is to use the data.
Zoom if possible.
Yes. Thank you. Same control plus. Okay. Yes. The first line is like the use is just to say like use the file. Within the parentheses, this is just the place where it is stored, the directory. So we'll copy it, and this is the place where paste. So here you will see the same is typed here. Once you press the enter, the information is loaded. You can see the data from here, the data editor. Okay. Just in PPT already I was showing how the data has to be arranged. The first column has the state, second is year. Means for each state, the year has to be completed in ascending order. Then we can go for next state. Say first we covered Andhra from 2005 to 2019. Then you go for next state. AS is for Assam, BH is for Bihar. It keeps going. It has for 20 major states. The variables you can see here, the productivity, labor, government, all the information is available here. One way to ascertain there is no any error in numeric is like here you can see all the numbers are in black color. If there are any non-numerical entries, like we saw instead of 0 if there is O, instead of 1 if there is L, both looks similar. So in that case, this black will turn that color. For the states variable, whatever the color is there, maroon, that color it will be turning. So we have to go through whether there is where is the mistake, and then we have to clear. Now the data is taken in the Stata. Next part is to have a description. Description says, in description what we want to see is just the nature of data. Year is in integer form, state is in string form. This will be useful when we are going for a large number of variables. We are having 20 or 30 or more than that. Then we have to see which information is in which form. They are just to explore, just to get into an initial phase. Here in encode, in panel data, this encode word is required. What do we do is first we have taken already the data into Stata. Next is the first part is we have to say this is in panel nature, because there are three different data we saw. One is transaction data, one is time series, one is this panel. For panel, the state is one identifier, year is the other identifier. In our data set, the state is in string form. We signed the describe command that's in string form. String form, it can't process. So what we have to do is we have to temporarily convert that as a numeric. So for Andhra Pradesh, a temporary ID will be given. For example, Andhra Pradesh is 1, Assam is 2, Bihar is 3. Likewise, this 1, 2, 3 will be given. But if we can't add it, like 1 and 2 is 3, normal numerical case, what happens? That will not be happening here. We have to convert the string variable into a numeric. So it's done. If there is some error, then there will be some red lines here. So since nothing is here, we can go for next. Again, we see describe. The describe is just to confirm this has changed. Here, state was in string form. Now we created a new variable, just one s is added here. You can see it is state and this is states. And now this is converted into long form. This transformation is necessary for acting as an identifier. The next is to declare this data set as a panel. The X is for cross section. You can see from here, the X is for cross section, T is for time dimension. So this data is having both. So we are saying set the data as it has both space dimension and time dimension, which is panel in nature. The X is state. Here what we created earlier, encoded that variable. And for time, this is the year. So once you enter those details, automatically this says this is the panel variable. Panel variable is state, the entity what we are discussing. The time variable is from 2005 to 2019, the minimum and maximum range. These strongly balanced, that we have to take care of it, because every panel data related technique will not work if there are some missing values. If you are having some missing values, either we have to, in 1 or 2 years, if it is missing, you can go for this interpolation. Interpolation is like there are a formula from Stata, you can get it. Interpolation is nothing but if there are two values, and in between these two values, there are some missing. And based on this previous and future values, the missing values will be calculated. And the other word is extrapolation. Say for example, extrapolation is at the tail end, or say from 1991 to 2000 you got the data. From 2002 to 2005 at the end you don't have. In that case we'll go for an extrapolation. So in panel, before constructing a panel, we should be very clear that there is no any missing value. So once there is no missing value, when we are reading here, this will be showing the data set is very strongly balanced. बात कल एक मिनट कल कर लोगे क्या हाँ okay. Next is, because when we have a data, the first part is straightly not to go to any fixed effect model, because we saw there are some assumptions, the time invariant properties. There are other related, we saw 3 characteristics. There are some characters which is more close within an entity and it's different from other entities. Those has to be explored, only then it is possible to decide whether it is fixed effect or random effect which is going to get better. So this tab is for tabulating. Say in state I said there are 20 states. Just we want to see the list. So when we click this tabulation, for each state's name is appearing here. The frequency is like for each state there are 15 observations, and this is the total percentage. Here we can confirm there is no any missing value again. Second is we wanted to see how different variables are varying in each state. This stat is like tabulate statistics, and this productivity, labor, capital, everything is our variable of interest. At last we say we want to see the average value. So for Andhra for 20 years, what was the productivity average? If you want to see, suppose total, you can write it as a sum. Here we are interested in going for average, we write it as a mean, and we declare here you have to show the values for each state. And the last one is just to post digit values. After that, how many digits we want to see, that we are entering here. So you can select it, and what we see is the zoom is not working here. Okay, here this is listing for each state the average productivity during our time span, and this is the number of labor, how much the government has invested, how much the farmer has invested, what was the share of allied sector, everything is listed. Here what we get is, the idea is, you can see there are so many variations. Like we said, in Himachal, in Jammu, the values are pretty high. In Punjab, in Haryana as well. per hectare, what is the total value of agriculture. This depends on the nature of the crops grown there. Here, there are some other states as well, in Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka. Their per hectare agriculture output is very less. What it is showing is there are variations. And next stage, we will see like within those states, there should be homogeneity. I'm not explicitly checking here, but here what I wanted to show is the variability between the states. This is one, by tabulating is one way of looking at the trend. And the other way is we can go for any graph. In cross-section data, this is just a line. Since it is a panel data, for every syntax, there will be an addition of XT here. XT is like, this is the panel data, this are earlier. So here, once you go for an XT line productivity, you get the productivity trend for all the states, for all the time period. As usual, this is Andhra, Haryana, MP, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu. The information is still much clearer. In some state, the rate of rise is constant. You see in Bihar, in Andhra, in Assam, the rate of change for each year is little stable and same. In Himachal, in Tamil Nadu, in Jharkhand, the rate of increase is fast. Here in some states, you can see there is some stagnancy. So every state is behaving differently in terms of productivity. Same way you can see the labor as well. The part of declining productivity is like maybe in each year there are less and less land is put in, or there are some changes in cropping pattern. Look into the case of labor here. Per hectare labor in Andhra declining, Bihar stagnant, Jharkhand it's declining very fast. It indicates in Jharkhand the labor from agriculture is migrating to some other occupation, maybe within the state or outside the state. This is the status of labor. So we can do it all. What we have to do is just type XT line, then type the name of the variable. It's done. This is a graphical way. Otherwise, what you do is this SUM is for summary. That summary characteristics we know: mean, median, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, those characters. XT sum is to say, to give a summary property. The productivity is a variable. In general, for cross-section data, the summary structure is different. Per panel, this is different. For example, I'll show without using the two letters XT, if you are straightly writing summarize, this data will assume this is a cross-section data. So we wanted to get a summary statistics for productivity. The output structure is different in both the cases because here this is OLS. We don't differentiate between state, year, nothing. So it's taking all 300 observations. For overall observation, this is 145. You can see it here for overall category. You can see the average is 145. This is the case of OLS. Standard deviation 58, the 58. In panel, what is happening is there are two other effects. One is like a between effect, and the second is within. Within is like within state. In each time period, there are differences. Not in each time period. Within state, in the value, average value in different times, there are variations. That is captured by the within parameter. The between is like between different states, what is going to be the change. And this statistic is necessary when we are running a panel model. There will be a within state variation, between state variation. There will be a display, and based on the characteristics, again we will design the significance. And these are very simple, very beginning way of exploring the data. So productivity variations, if we want to observe still more clearly, what we do here is we'll do it in two steps. One is I'll explain what this line means. So first is we are saying for each state that has to be sorted out, and we have to create mean values of productivity, and the mean values are stored in the variable called y mean. I'll repeat again. For each state, mean value of productivity has to be calculated, and these mean values has to be stored under the variable name called y-mean. At next stage, this is only plotting. You can, this is the labeling is like we want to give name for each observation. You can omit it when you are trying. This two-way scatter plot. So we want to have a plot of productivity of each states. They are like in which form you want to see it. Maybe circle, diamond, triangle, in any form. And the second part is like the mean what we computed in earlier step. Again, that has to be given. So the result is, this is the result what is produced. This is the productivity levels plus their means for all states. The label is here as usual. There are some states where the productivity level is very less. You can see here and you can see. And there are other cluster of states where there are so many differences. And here the advantage is we are looking two things. This is just a mean, and this is the actual observations. So these observations distribution is very different. Say for Andhra, it is starting from 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh. So for Assam, it is starting around say 80 to 130. So this distributional difference is what important when it comes to panel data. In that case, if there is no any changes, there will not be any undulations. It will be a straight line where we will be straightly going for this OLS. We don't need to go for this panel related techniques. And this is just the case of investment by the farmer. The case for investment, this is made by the farmer. The earlier line and this is just same, except that here we are plotting productivity mean, and here farmers investment mean. You can see the differences here. These states where we saw the productivity level was very less, what the farmers are making an investment, that is also very less. This are giving some clue like how for which states are performing how. The average impact can be seen during the regression models. So having observed differences across the state, the next step is we have to go for either fixed effect or random effect. There are two choices we saw already, like in FE there are some assumptions, in random effect there are some assumptions. We know based on our data which assumptions are valid, so straightly we can go. So in our case, this labor and capital case, if we are assuming there are no differences between the states in terms of variability, straightly we can enter into random effects. But when we are writing, we have to give enough justification to say the variations are very random. In most of the cases, variations are not random. They are determined by many factors. Say you take the case of subsidy case. So you take the fertilizer subsidy. States where the fertilizer responsive crops are grown more, paddy, wheat, maize, sugarcane, where the irrigation is also high. There the subsidy amount, if you try to calculate, that will be much higher. So if you go for the rainfed states where these millets like sorghum or something is grown, there if you want to calculate the fertilizer subsidy per hectare, there will be differences. In macroeconomic data, in most of the cases, there will be differences. The random effect may will, in most of the cases, it will not be suitable. Here we will run first the fixed effect models. Before running it, this is the line to run the panel regression. XT is for, as usual, this is cross-sectional time series. REG is for regression. The first variable is dependent variable, productivity. And the following variables are independent variables, labor, capital by government, capital by farmer, and the diversification impact. And after you need to give a command and give it, indicate this is going to be a fixed effect model. For random effect, this will be RE. This is for random effect. So once if you run the model, so this is the output. The output is starting from here. You can, this is all the result space. Here you get some summary stat. there are total 300 variables. 20 states we are taking. The 20 is represented here. The probability value is overall fitness of the data. And this is what we were discussing in summary stat, that within state and between state differences. This is like the total, the R square we know, the explanatory power of the model. If it is more, then the model is good, like that in OLS. Here in this case, the R square is broken into 3 components. One is like within and between, and then overall. So this is like within means within state in different time period, how much the variability is. And between the states as an average, what is going to be the variability and overall. This is like we don't need to expect like 80 or 90, those sort of numbers we don't need to get. This is just an indicator how far this is explained. And here the significance levels are there. And this is the interpretation is almost same like OLS. For every unit of increase in this independent variable, how the productivity is changing. Here, the result is like, one point I want to mention is when you are going for the different models, this will be giving different information. Here in fixed effect, what do we see here is labor has a negative impact on productivity. So if you are increasing 1 labor per hectare throughout the country, the agricultural productivity will be decreasing by 29 rupees per hectare. In that case, for government and private investment, this straightly we can take into multipliers if you want to, if we take the data as a percentual logarithmic form. So here, what the information the result is giving is like when government is investing 1 rupee additional, it's not just 1 rupee. Means, for example, last time it was 1500 per hectare. Now it is increasing by 1501. In that case, productivity will be increasing by 1.03. That's slightly higher. But when farmer is investing more, the productivity per hectare is rising by 7 times. This is what we used to say the multiplier effect. The multiplier effect of government investment is different, private investment is different. The reason is government is investing more on infrastructure related or related development. Say it will be clearing more canals, it will try to give expanding irrigation structure. The farmer's investment is much different. So farmers, for his particular farm, what is required, he will hire more machine, he will create his own specific irrigation structure, micro irrigation structure. Its impact is much higher. The diversification effect is like 1% share if it is increasing, the output is increasing by more than 1. This is the result what is observed in fixed effect model. For time being, we will store as a, this is just a name. We are saying store the estimates what is obtained here in the name of FE. You can give it as an any name. This is there's no any standard. So you can give it as an FE. Then what we can do is we will also run the random effects model. The syntax is same except instead of FE we have to write RE. This is the random effects model. The estimates are slightly different. So here again we'll store RE, random effect estimate. Then this ESTTAB is just we are saying tabulate only the estimates. So what it do here is this will give the coefficients plus significance. In the first column is for fixed effect, second column is for random effects. You can see the differences, the impact. Here, when it comes to this is a linear model. We are not going for secondary equations. So we don't see much differences. The impact is 29 in this case, 25 in this case. Multiplier, they don't have. There is slightly more when it goes to random effects model. And later we will see when we are going for instrumental variable, the multiplier will change entirely. Yes, this is just for an introduction. The FE fixed effect model, there are 2 ways. Fixed effect, we also call it as an LSDV, just we introduce an intercept, and based on that, we either we can type this line or we can type this one. Both are same, except this will be giving more information. I'll run it just for your visual interpretation. It will be easy. These coefficients are same like what we got early. For labor it is 29. For fixed effect it is 29. So there is no difference in terms of estimation, but only additional information is like for each state you can see how different intercept is performing. You know already. So from the constant you subtract or add it, that's the actual intercept value. So here we wanted to see in a graphical form how these values are differing. When the PPT was presented, we were looking into the same slope with different intercept assumption, and the other one is like different slope, different intercept. Both are within the fixed effect framework. This is the live example of real world data. So here, just for time being, we will. Here, what you see is each line is the indicator of particular state. This dark line is for OLS. The idea what the picture is giving is like each state is entirely performing in different way. So if we are going for OLS, that's not going to be the right choice. The OLS coefficient will be, slope coefficient will be from this line. You can see this sort of states here, how fast they are going. The coefficient, the slope will be much high for the state, this state, when comparing with other states. That's the performance differences. Okay. This is the way of visualizing the real differences between the states before or after we are running the fixed effect model. Random effects we saw already. Now the question is like which is right, whether we have to go for fixed effect or random effect. One is like we already checked the assumptions. In the graph, what we are saying is it's not falling in the both the case. There were two assumptions in discussion. One is like slope is constant. Both in other cases intercept is constant. In graph, we are looking for both the cases. Both fixed effect is also there, and random effect is also there. So if we want to choose which is best, this is the syntax. If we type Hassman, then this is the name where the estimates are stored, fixed effect and random effect. This Hassman will be giving the results. When the probability is falling less than 5%, we say fixed effect is better. If it is less than 5% significance level, we say fixed effect is better. Then we were looking into some diagnostic tests. So this is for testing time effect. Time effect is like earlier we were saying for each state there are individual unique characteristics, time invariant properties. In time fixed effect, what we are saying is for each time these variations are different. Within time the differences are the variations are constant, but it's different. We will look into this case OLS or random effect estimates. One possibility is like this is first we'll run the regression for random effects, then so as usual we run the panel regression with random effects. They are the results. Then after that, this is the keyword to test whether OLS is better than a random effect, because in OLS also we say residuals are independent, which means there is no any dependency. Here in panel also in random effect we say the same except the panel, except the state structure. The BPL test will be run based on the significance level. We can come to conclusion whether OLS is good or the random effect is good. We can see here when we compare this OLS or random, if this is the question, then this is OLS. Okay, this is random effect. When we are going for OLS versus random effect, the result is random effect is doing good. Earlier, when we were going for whether fixed effect or random effect is good, it is showing fixed effect. So at last, the favor is in terms of fixed effect. Again, we will see comparing with fixed effect within that there are instrumental variable framework that will be giving much precise results. So there are other diagnostic tests. One is for heteroscedasticity. This is for heteroscedasticity. XT test 3. Earlier it was 0, now it is 3. And this is for contemporaneous correlation, the spatial spillovers, what we were discussing. The only difference is like XT test 0 was the keyword for OLS or RE. And to see whether there is contemporaneous correlations there or not, we type XT test 2. Okay, just for this data, the test is not behaving well. There is an alternate test, SRN test, for the same purpose. So here, based on the probability value, we can say that there exists cross-sectional dependence. Means there is a spatial correlation. Then for heteroscedasticity, again, if we test, this is showing there is heteroscedasticity. For serial correlation, if we test, again, the result is like there is a correlation. Means whatever the diagnostic test we were checking, there are all sort of problems. The other way is to go for instrumental variable regression. Instrumental variable regression can be done in two cases. One is in cross-section data, there is the measurement error problem. We can run it. Within panel, again, we can do the same. So for panel fixed effect model, only the difference is earlier we were typing XT REG. XT is for panel, REG is for regression. Now this is XT IV REG. Let me explain this equation. So this XT, IV, and REG is for panel instrumental variable regression. The sequence is same: productivity, labor, farmer. This series is same. Only thing is here for allied agriculture, we are taking an instrument called GDP per capita. Here for this data, the assumption is like allied agriculture, we have taken to show the diversification, impact of diversification. So how far this impact of diversification will be there, this depends so many factors. We can't straightly measure. So one possible way is to take GDP per capita as a proxy variable. So when we run it, this is the result. And earlier we were discussing based on the models, there will be different results. And this is the case. Earlier we saw the impact of labor was 12 or something, but that was negative and significant. Means if we are adding more labor, the productivity will be declining. Here, when it comes to IV model, it says labor has no big impact. This is maybe for actually the consequence of this sort of result is very different. When we are saying labor is reducing output, the government will be more interested in diverting from agriculture to non-agriculture. Their income is high, there are much factors. And if you are giving this result, the labor has no big problem. The non-farm employment related policies will be less concentrated. So based on methodology, the interpretation will be different, but which method is better, that we have to justify. The advantages of IV here, this is the fixed effect model, like earlier what we did. The additional assumption is like diversification is not an independent phenomenon, but diversification is caused by income per capita growth. When just one assumption is added, the labor become insignificant. The multiplier value for private investment become little less. Those sort of changes you can expect. So these are about panel instrumental variable. There is another demo for this mixed effect logic. Dr. Vinayak, shall I proceed or how it is? This is 5:30.
You can.
Sure, no?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. This is for mixed effect logic. What I was saying for household level data, the ISDS data source, what we were seeing. This is based on the household level data. I'll straightly enter into the data file, because how the data is constructed, that has still okay, I'll proceed with this. So this is the data set, and there are, as we were discussing earlier, I'll quickly go how the data set is built. In ISDS dataset, for the present purpose, the idea was to see which factors are influencing whether a farmer is staying in agriculture or is going out of agriculture. So accordingly, there we need to state a level of information. One is at household level, all the household has quitted agriculture. So what is the household level factor, like total number of persons in the household, likewise. And there are some personal level factors. So what we have to do is, there are two time points. In 2004-5, we are tracing on farmer, and the same farmer we are looking into 2011 and 12, and we are seeing whether he is staying in agriculture or not. And if he is not staying, then we are exploring what is the reasons. And the first part is, like as mentioned here, merging household file and individual files for 2004 and 5. And the second part is for 2011 and 12, we are merging household and individual files. All household individual files are given in that source website what we were looking. This is the first step. Second is, like, we trace whether principal source of income is changing. In 2004-5, you will see whether agriculture was his major income, and if it is not there in 2011-12, what has happened. Those information is traced here. Just as of now, I can't explain. Otherwise, I can explain now how it is constructed. And these are the way how the individual values are constructed. For the land, for example, is constructed by, this is just renaming. This is not like individual steps. This is just, we are renaming the variable what is in data set. Then if there are some missing values represented as dot, we are replacing here with 0. They are very small things, and that's not going to take much time. Then the next part is, like, we will merge these two 2004-5 and 11-12-5. That's how these household and individual files are created. Okay, I'll run the mix effect things. Here, these are all these renaming related things, just for our convenience. If you want to rename, we can rename, otherwise we can leave it. So here, first step is, like, all the total households, we are keeping only the farmers whose principal income source is agriculture. This one is coded for agriculture. And this is the variable that looks into the tracing part. Here, what we are writing is gen is for generate. We are generating a variable. Shift is the variable where the values are stored. One is, like, if principal income source is not equal to 1. Like, we are in this variable, what we are saying is, in these 2 years, if the principal income source is agriculture, it reflects he is still remaining as a farmer. So for him, we are giving the value as a 1. And if he is moving from agriculture to some other occupation, we are coding it as a 0, and that's it. And this is, like, economically active population, how many household members are working. And based on that, their decision will change. So they are, this if principal source is equal to 1. This is the variable. This is the shifting variable. This is the household structure. So just to begin with, for multi-level model, this is better as usual to start with a simple logic model. You'll start how this is performing, and you can see here how the model is designed. The shift is like shifting character. The class is a dummy variable. The I dot refers, this is a dummy. If you are not using the I, this will be counted as a numeric. in this class, the information is stored whether he is a marginal farmer or small farmer or large farmer. Those information is stored. And this COM farm is commercial farmer. He is whether he is raising commercial crops or whether he is going for a traditional crop. That information is stored. Dummy. If he is going for a commercial crop, it's one. Otherwise, it's dummy. This is the distress character. Whether he is exposed to any distress factor. If he is exposed, then he is given 1 like that. This is population and household size. This is cultivation intensity. In 1 year, whether he is cultivating just for once or he is going for more than once, that information is stored. We'll run a dummy model. We'll begin with just a logic. And here, what do we see is the class is like farmers group, marginal, small, those characters. So what do we see here is if the size of land is more, they are less likely to shift from agriculture to non-agriculture, indicated by the increasing value of the coefficient and negative value. Negative is like less likely to go out of agriculture and the coefficient size is increasing. Second is commercial farmer. The negative shows the commercial farmer is less likely to go, but in larger case, it is not significant. So commercial farmer, he can remain in agriculture, he can quit agriculture. This is indecisive. But distress farmer, definitely he will shift. He will not stay in agriculture. That wise, the coefficients interpretation is same. But what do we do here is, first we did a simple model, logic model. Then we can store it. Logic. Next, what we will do is we will try logic, the same logic model. Here by typing this VCE, this VCE is like for variance and covariance structure. This robust is for what we are using is like already we saw there may be the group specific character. So people who are living in irrigated environment, even if he is distressed, his decision may be little different. He may be thinking we will stay for longer, then we will go for some other occupation. So we wanted to control those characteristics. For in that case, what we can do is we can go for the robust option. Logic R. R is for robust. These estimates are stored. Here, okay. This is okay. This robustness is for not for this cluster specific effect. This is for getting standard error, consistent standard errors. And here by specifying VC is cluster, we are saying in each cluster, within cluster there will be more similarities, and between clusters there will be differences. In every method, the coefficient will remain same. When you are practicing, you will see like only the standard error and so that this p-value, those values will be changing. This coefficient will not change. C for cluster. And this is the mix effect model as mentioned here. Mix effect is like already we saw, there will be both fixed effect characters and there will be both the random effect characteristics, and there will be a hierarchy of data. And there will be a hierarchy of data. In that case, we will go for this mix effect model. Two things here we can see. One is like this equation, the logic equation is same without any change. What we add is just ME. ME is for mix effect. Second is like the state ID we are adding. The state ID when we are adding, it will presume like for each state, the intercept is different. In fixed effect panel, what we are looking, the same structure. We are saying within state, there will be more similar behavior. Between the states, there will be more differences. When you try to model in that way, the result is like we were looking in simple logic model, it was insignificant. the commercial farmers' decision to stay in agriculture was totally insignificant. Now this has improved to 9%. And here we can say commercial farmers will remain little longer in agriculture because it's paying more. Right? But distressed farmers, the probability of moving from agriculture is same. And this is one way. The other way is like we are also saying it's not just the intercept which is different, but along with this intercept, the distress factor will also be the other cause. The distress is the slope variable. So after running it, we can trace the changes. Now when we are doing this, again, the significance is lost, but it's still close to 10%. And in next case, what do we do is, instead of the distress factor, we are trying to go for the commercial farmers' nature. So commercial farmers' nature, when we are adding as a for slope characteristics, there will be again slightly changes in the result. There will not be much changes, but the possibility of getting changes always there. Sometimes we can say this group of farmers are more likely to stay in agriculture, and sometimes the result may be little different. That depends how we are choosing. Okay, this may take a little time. It's not much. You can see here this shows the process is on. It's still to complete. When the database goes much larger, these sort of problems will always be there. So now this has turned again at 8% with the negative sign. And here, what do we see for the commercial farmers characteristics? That will be slightly different from the distress farmers character. So this is the way of proceeding mixed effect model. Just because this is the so this is the data set is only for Tamil Nadu. For a whole state, it was not done, only for Tamil Nadu. The number of households was 11,000 in the present case. If the size is more, if we are computing for more states, there will be a little more time, but the precision will be still more. So this is how the mixed effect logic runs. Like we saw earlier, whether fixed effect is good or random effect is good in panel structure, the same sort of test can also be done in mixed effect model. This the keyword is like LR test, the name where this data is stored. Maybe I can, even if you're already familiar, so I don't need to repeat again. And this is what I wanted to show regarding running a mixed effect model in logit. There will not be much change. Instead of logit, if you type other regression types, the other things will be carried. Instead of logit, you go for Probit, there will be Probit regression. There is no much difference. That's all from my side. If you want to ask something, you can.
Doctor, we have questions also. If you have finished.
8 minutes. Questions.
You have finished this?
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, now you can see these questions also. Question and answer window is there. Bottom.
Okay, I saw the first question in social other, somewhere I saw this platform also. Any link to download district-wise household poverty line? The district-wise poverty line is so far not estimated. Means not estimated means from government side it's not estimated. For 2004-5 or 2011-12, the data is available. Data is not available. The research paper is available in Economic and Political Weekly that was published. For each district, what is the percentage of people below the poverty line? What was the poverty line? Those information was added. We can search it and we can find it, but there is no any ready-made database assets showing the poverty line. They are all consumption expenditures, and based on that we can compute if you want. The second part is what Ganga Devi, how to decide whether to go for random effect or fixed effect. Okay, the question is long back. That was already discussed. There was a Hassman test which says whether FE is good or random effect is good. Based on the probability value, we can choose. How to access Sentinel data? Is it paid? Okay. Sentinel data, as we said earlier, this was done with GIS, RGIS or QGIS. I am also not familiar. But now, this week or maybe within this June or May end, in our repository, there is a package. Name I forgot, I can give it the package's name. What it is doing is, it is extracting the Sentinel's data in R readable form. Then again, the processing is very lengthy. The paper is published how to do it. There's a separate paper, how to take the Sentinel data in R, then we can process. This paper, maybe I can share it. I'll send by mail. The package information is available. So this panel data can be possible only in Stata. No, this panel data we can do in Excel also. We were looking like fixed effect is only by introducing dummy. In Excel, we can do that by adding intercept dummy for each state, and we can run the normal regression. But the within effect, between effect details may not be coming. Otherwise, in all software, it can be done. Software is not an issue. So when do we go for LSDV model? Anonymous, okay. LSDV and fixed effect, we saw both are giving same estimates. Coefficients are same, standard error, p-value, everything is same. If we want to see the value of intercept between all states, in our case there was 20 states. If I want to see what is the value of intercept for every one of these states, then we can run an LSDV. It will show for each state what is the value. Otherwise, FE and LSDV both are same. When do we go for LSDV?
You can take name of that person also.
Yes, Jaya Jayanti. Is it possible to use XT regression for primary panel data collected at field level for 1 year period? Yeah. This, since you are saying this is a weekly data, this is the time dimension. It can be even a week or even an hour. You can use it for weekly data as well, daily data, monthly, even. In some cases, I suggest for weekly data, what happens is in non-seasonal time, there will be a missing value. The problem used to come. You can as such use a weekly data after correcting the missing values. Otherwise, you can straightly go for a monthly. You can take a mean of each month, then you can do it. And this is possible without change. Only thing is we should need at least 2 different time period. That's it. Then what Jaya Jayanti, access to syntax for handling different models. Is it available under help? Okay, I forgot to mention about help. Here in Stata, sir, this screen is visible, no? Stata screen. Hello? Hello, that's all?
You want to share it? You can share it.
Okay, again I have to share, okay. This share is not appearing. Okay, I'll answer. Yeah, I can answer by verbally. What you have to type is all the syntax is available ready-made form under the Stata PDF document. Even you can straightly download all from the Google itself. You can type Stata PDF document. All sort of analysis, not just about panel. Whatever the Stata can do, everything is given. The code is given. The example is given. How to interpret, that is discussed. Viral Pandey. Okay, you have covered many issues in very short span of time. Can you suggest literature or a good article from which we can read about this method? Yeah, this is what I was saying. The Stata PDF document is having very good detail. The data will be just simple data, but all sort of explanation, whatever we want to know regarding estimate, standard error, variance structure, everything is. We don't need to go for any published research paper to see what it is. In the software's PDF documentation, this is given. For using India Stat and EPW data, subscription is necessary. Punit Kumar. Yeah, we in our in NCAP, we are having subscription for all. We have EPW and India Stat as well. Otherwise, whatever the data we were discussing, when it came 542, okay. Otherwise, whatever the data, website we were discussing, in website that is already available. Only thing is for each year, each state we have to sit and we have to compile. The compilation problem will be always there, but that will not take much time.
Okay. Dr. Saab from Facebook, Mr. Parth Shah is asking how to remove or solve the problem of heteroscedasticity.
Heteroscedasticity, what do we do is in general, we used to go for, instead of OLS, in OLS case, we used to go for GLS, generalized least square. In equation, if we see, there will be adjustment for this heteroscedasticity. Instead of word, in syntax, we used to write for, in syntax, there are multiple methods are available. One is to, first we are running a fixed effect model, then we are checking for heteroscedasticity. Within the fixed effect framework, there are variance structure. Within this variance structure, we can choose. I think one is for GMM, one is for limited information, maximum likelihood. I remember. That's what I remember. Otherwise, I can say in Stata PDF, if you want to go through, these differences are given.
Okay. Next, last question I think we'll take, that is from Facebook again. Jyoti Chauhan, she is asking how to use weights in regression.
Right. How to?
Weights.
Weights in regression we can't give. What to say? Weight is actually, the idea of giving weight is how much is the particular observation is resembling. In NSS case, for example, if we take, for one particular household, if the weight is 100, its meaning is that particular household is representing 100 other households in total population. So weight, we can't decide. In NSS data, it is given by default.
Okay, I think most of questions also we have covered. It's 5:47 already.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for.
Thank you very much, Dr. Balaji, for such informative lecture on panel data regression and instrumental variable. We are getting very good feedback both from Zoom as well as Facebook Live. We are really thankful for you for today's session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to share, if there are any trouble in downloading this open data, you can give any mail or WhatsApp or something. Since the data is free, there is no harm in sharing. So you can get the data from my side also, if you have some problem in downloading. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Dear participants, a day after tomorrow, that is on Monday, we will start with economic surplus approach, which is used for ex-ante impact evaluation or to see impact at macro level. And for that, speaker will be Dr. Kingsley, scientist from ICAR National Institute of Agriculture Economics and Policy Research, New Delhi. Till then, goodbye from me and my co-host, Dr. Abhimanyu Jajaria. Thank you.
My side. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.